Good old Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who has gotten away with an ungodly amount of charges, not only charges, but allegations as well. I can't understand how this man has been able to get away with everything he has been able to get away with. Honestly, in the real world, this would not fly. But again, celebrities don't play by the same rules. This is something that we've talked about many times. I've made many videos on Ezra Miller, and I will continue to do so, so long as this fucking psychopath is free and not in jail, especially since now they've been doing everything they possibly could to protect this man. They want him protected any which way possible to try to ensure the success of the upcoming Flash movie because they have so much money invested into this movie that they cannot let his drama tear the movie down. Now, why am I talking about it? Well, quite simply, there's a new article from Bounding Into Comics, and this particular article really grinds my gears. The reason why is because the fact that they even had the gall to say something like this is crazy. It says the Flash production designer believes that the Ezra Miller controversies will have no effect on the film's performance and that people will forget that. What? People will forget Ezra Miller's drama? Are you serious? The fact that he is running free, knowing damn well that man is guilty. He has terrorized the country. He's been through multiple states doing God knows what. He's groomed so many kids, especially an indigenous girl. Like, there is so much that Ezra Miller has done, and you're trying to say that people will just forget it? You know what's the sad thing? You're probably right. People will probably forget it, and they will probably not affect the film's performance, but it just doesn't make it any more right. So let's get into the article, guys. But of course, before we do, consider giving me a like so that way you push us out into the YouTube algorithm. It says, in a particularly stunning display of Hollywood's self-important arrogance, which I think that's exactly what it is. Arrogance is the best word I could possibly think of for that statement. The Flash production designer, Paul Austerberry, has dismissed the idea that star Ezra Miller's laundry list of legal troubles will have any effect on the film's box office performance, as, in his opinion, audiences will be quick to forget the actor has done anything wrong the moment they appear on screen. Well, that's the thing. They're not thinking about what he did wrong when they're watching the movie, because the question is whether or not they're going to watch the movie in the first place. That's the big question. Ezra Miller has, like they said in the article, a laundry list of issues and complaints and charges and accusations that have been levied against him to the point where you could write almost a novel on it, and people are just supposed to forget that. Like, we're just supposed to pretend like none of that existed, none of that ever happened. And I know that's what they want because, again, Hollywood is trying to protect Ezra Miller any chance they get. It says Austerberry, who has also been served as a production designer on such films as The Shape of Water and It Chapter 2, offered his opinion on the Miller situation during a recent interview given to Canada's CBC News. Following a brief reflection of his approach to bringing Bruce Wayne's Batcave and Batwing back from the annals of cinema history for Keaton's return to the role, Austerberry noted he once built full-size cardboard replicas of the Dark Knight's vehicles and laughed. It's kind of funny that I was able to actually do the real deal. The designer then admitted, in light of the fact that the studio reportedly spent roughly $220 to produce the film, The Flash was considered to be a big deal for Warner Bros. To that end, Austerberry explained that we're designing these things and designing the film for the big screen. This is a big screen movie-going experience. So if the budget is roughly $220 million, you gotta imagine, I've seen a lot of marketing for this movie. You gotta imagine the rule of thumb to double the budget to produce for marketing is probably very accurate for this movie. So they're gonna have to make an ungodly amount of money to break even on this, because even if they made $440 million, which will be the break-even point in terms of budget and marketing together. The problem is, even if they made $400 million, that means they only made $200 million because they get about half of the money from the ticket sales and everything in the movie theater. So $400 million that they pull in is only $200 million. So they're going to have to make $800 million for them to get anywhere close to breaking even on this film, which is insane for a DC film. It says, I hope most people see it on the big screen. He added, this kind of movie is made for the multiplex. It's made for the big spectacle. It's made with a guy who should not be making it in the first place. I just don't understand. Like, Jonathan Majors has been canceled throughout, like, time already. Like, the man, they're already saying that he's probably not going to be playing Kang. He's been dropped by his talent agency. I mean, and that's just allegations. Ezra Miller has been found to be guilty of certain things already with God knows how many allegations levied against him, and they protect him. him. Why? Because he's a they them. That's why. They protect him because he's a they them, and Hollywood loves his tight little butthole. That's really what it is. It says, having broached the topic of just how important Scarlet Speedster's solo outing was to the studio, its release not only has major ramifications for the future of one of their biggest properties, but also on the reputation and future of their newly hired CEO, David Zaslav. Austerberry was then pressed by CBC reporter Jackson Weaver on whether or not he felt concern over the possibility that Miller's recent history could harm the film's prospects. People will forget that, he asserted in turn, before proceeding to sidestep the question by moving to praise how Miller shot the film in two different chunks, due to it featuring two different Barry Allens and the fact that the actor apparently only took 3 days off during the filming of their parts. I like how they're trying to hype up Ezra Miller as if people actually want to go see this guy. Nobody wants to go see Ezra Miller as the Flash. You understand this, right? Like people realize what he has done, and by going out and watching this and trying to support him, you're basically supporting that at the end of the day. And you have every right to do that. If you want to go do that, by all means. It's not like during the Harry Potter boycott where they were just throwing out complete nonsense and BS because they just didn't like J.K. Rowling. There's a difference. People put out a bunch of BS because they just didn't like J.K. Rowling, and they'll pretend like she was just some hardcore anti-trans person with no basis to their argument whatsoever. However, with Ezra Miller, he's been proven to be guilty. He's been caught doing almost half of what he's been accused of already, basically pretty much guaranteeing that the other half has at least some truth to it, and yet he has no ramifications for it. Absolutely no ramifications for it. The man has been able to run free and do whatever the hell he wants with whoever the hell he wants, and he gets paid for it. And that's because Hollywood loves him. Hollywood loves them some Ezra Miller. It says, ultimately, rather than elaborate any further as to why he thought audiences would collectively rush out to support the film in spite of Miller, Austerberry instead simply concluded, from my profession and what I do, it's fantastic that these films are being made because we can create whatever we want in the world. As of writing, Miller is set to return to his titular role, perhaps for the last time, though everyone from Zaslav to current DC head James Gunn are currently refraining from making an actual decision on the matter when The Flash bolts into theaters on June 16th. Now, you guys can let me know in the comments down below whether or not you're actually going to watch this movie. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not watching The Flash. I mean, that should be pretty much obvious at this point. I don't even think I'll do, I can't even discuss it really because I'm not going to watch the movie. I can read cliff notes on it, but I don't really care. Ezra Miller, for me, if it's an Ezra Miller movie, I'm just not interested because this man, again, is the prime example of what happens when you have money and when you have the right identification. That's exactly what it is. This man is a celebrity, and on top of that, he's a they, them, so he has the ultimate protection, the likes of which any normal man could never afford. And when it comes to the accusations that has been levied against him and what he has been proven to be guilty of, everybody else would have faced jail time. Literally everybody else would have been in jail unless they had similar protections that Ezra Miller is afforded. But unfortunately, they don't. Most people do not. And the fact of the matter is, this man is 100% protected by Hollywood, and I will not be supported this psychopath. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.